Picture Queen Elizabeth I. You probably imagine magnificent jewels, impossibly fine silks, and that iconic pale face framed by fiery red hair. From a distance, she was a symbol of divine power and untouchable glamour. But what if you got a little closer? What was the reality behind the royal portraits? The truth is, the 16th century was a world of filth, questionable medicine, and stomach-turning practices, all hidden beneath a carefully constructed illusion of perfection. You might picture queens as impeccably clean, but Elizabeth's world operated by a completely different set of rules. Today, we're counting down 5 of the most shocking hygiene secrets of her reign, revealing the grime hidden beneath the glamour. This isn't the history you learned in school. This is the raw, unvarnished, and frankly, pretty repulsive truth. Now, before we dive in, let's be clear, our modern obsession with antibacterial soap and daily showers is, well, modern. In the 16th century, they had a profound misunderstanding of how the human body and germs actually worked. Elizabeth wasn't necessarily unique in her habits, but as the queen, the contrast between her public image and private reality is what makes her story so fascinating. It's also worth noting that for all the grime, she was also surprisingly fit, known for taking vigorous early morning walks and being an energetic dancer. So, hold your breath, because we're about to peel back the perfumed layers of history. Kicking off our list at number 5 is the Queen's relationship with bathing. You've probably heard the myth that Elizabeth only bathed once a year. That's an exaggeration, but the popular story that she bathed once a month, whether she needed it or not, was considered exceptionally clean by her contemporaries. In fact, some evidence suggests she had access to quite luxurious bathing facilities, including some with hot and cold running water, and was washed regularly by her attendants. So why the fear of water? In the Tudor era, the leading medical theory was that diseases were spread through miasmas, or bad air. It was believed that soaking in hot water would open the skin's pores, creating a gateway for these deadly vapors to enter the body and cause everything from a cold to the plague. So, in the mind of a 16th century royal, avoiding frequent baths wasn't lazy, it was a critical act of self-preservation. So, how did she stay clean? Instead of daily baths, Elizabeth's attendants performed a sort of dry cleaning. They would rub her body down with linen cloths, believing the fabric would absorb sweat and impurities. Afterwards, they'd apply scented cloths soaked in rose water or other fragrant infusions. These weren't for sanitizing, they were to mask body odor. When a full bath was taken, it was a huge production. With no modern plumbing, servants had to haul and heat countless buckets of water to fill a large wooden tub. It was a rare ceremony, not a casual routine. Coming in at number 4 is the genuinely foul state of Queen Elizabeth's teeth. This was a secret that was impossible to hide from anyone who got close. Elizabeth had a legendary sweet tooth, which was a big problem in an age without modern dentistry. In the 16th century, sugar was an incredibly expensive luxury, and serving sugary dishes was a major status symbol. The Queen's banquets were famous for mountains of marzipan, candied fruits, and sugary pastries. This sugar addiction, plus a lack of effective dental care, was a recipe for disaster. Some accounts even claim she used a Tudor toothpaste, a paste made from sugar, to polish her teeth, literally scrubbing them with the substance that was destroying them. By her later years, foreign visitors described her teeth as very yellow and unequal and, more bluntly, black. Because sugar was so expensive, blackened teeth ironically became a status symbol, and some commoners reportedly used soot to mimic the look of wealth. The Queen suffered from severe tooth decay and had lost so many teeth that it affected her speech. The smell must have been atrocious. Her fear of the era's so-called dentists, who were actually barber surgeons, was legendary. A tooth extraction was a brutal procedure without anesthesia. In one famous incident, she was so terrified to have a tooth pulled that one of her bishops had to have one of his own teeth removed in front of her just to prove it was survivable. Number 3, we have a secret that adds a textural layer to the Queen's image, her relationship with her clothes. We imagine royalty with an endless, pristine wardrobe, but the reality was far different. Her magnificent gowns, made of heavy, expensive materials like velvet and silk, were almost never washed. Doing so would have been incredibly difficult and risked ruining the costly fabrics. Instead, they were spot cleaned or aired out. This meant the queen would wear the same opulent gown for days at a time, absorbing sweat, body oils, and perfumes. While the claim they became stiff with grime is likely an exaggeration, they certainly weren't fresh. The key to Tudor cleanliness lay in the undergarments. Elizabeth wore linen shifts or chemises, which were changed very frequently, sometimes even daily. The belief was that the clean linen would draw impurities out from the skin, acting as a substitute for washing the body itself. Still, with the outer garments going unwashed, imagine the layers of perfume and sweat building up. The elaborate ruffs around her neck would have trapped food particles, sweat, and drips of her toxic makeup. Her shoes, rarely cleaned, would have collected filth from the palace floors, which were often covered in rushes that trapped old food and waste. It was all about appearance over reality. If it looked clean from a distance, that was good enough for a queen. Our runner-up is perhaps the most famous and tragic of all, Elizabeth's use of heavy, toxic, lead-based makeup. Her iconic pale face wasn't natural, it was a mask made from a cosmetic called Venetian ceruse, a thick paste of white lead and vinegar. She caked this poison on her face, neck, and chest daily. Why? A pale complexion was the ultimate symbol of nobility, proving you didn't have to work in the sun. Elizabeth was also hiding scars left by a severe bout of smallpox in 1562. To conceal these blemishes and project an image of ageless perfection, she became dependent on ceruse, which started a vicious cycle. The lead in the makeup was a potent poison, slowly absorbed through her skin, which likely caused health problems like hair loss and skin damage. To hide the new damage, she had to apply even thicker layers of the toxic paste. This mask was worn for long periods, and beneath it, a mixture of sweat and grime would fester against her damaged skin. When the makeup was finally removed, the cleansers were often just as dangerous, sometimes containing mercury or other harsh ingredients that stripped her skin raw, requiring another immediate application of lead. In her final years, it's said she banned most mirrors from her private rooms, perhaps unable to face the reality beneath the mask she had so carefully constructed. Before we unveil our number one most shocking secret, let us know in the comments which of these habits you found the most surprising. And if you're fascinated by the gritty reality of history, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. And now, for the number one hygiene secret of Queen Elizabeth I, the general squalor of her royal palaces. This final point brings all the previous elements together into one suffocating space. While stories of servants gagging upon entering her private bedchamber are likely dramatic exaggerations, the smell by our standards would have been an assault. First, you have the smell of the unwashed queen herself, her body odor masked but not eliminated by heavy perfumes. Then there's the odor from her nightgown, which she might wear for extended periods. But the biggest offender was the lack of plumbing. The royal toilet was an ornate chair with a chamber pot hidden beneath it. Its contents would sit in the room for hours before a servant removed it. With windows often sealed tight for fear of drafts and bad air, there was no ventilation. The floors contributed their own layer of foulness. Rushes spread on the floorboards trapped spills and food crumbs, slowly composting underfoot. Royal courts actually had to move from palace to palace, not just for political reasons, but to let each residence air out and be cleaned of the accumulated human waste. This was the private reality behind the public spectacle. While Elizabeth drifted through court as a perfumed, ethereal figure, her private world was a prison of stench. The glamour was a carefully crafted lie, and the truth, hidden away in her chambers, testifies to a profoundly different, and profoundly smellier, world. From bathing in fear of disease to painting her face with poison, the hygiene habits of Queen Elizabeth I offer a shocking glimpse into the gritty reality of the 16th century. It's a powerful reminder that our modern standards of cleanliness are a luxury the Tudors couldn't have imagined. The past wasn't just a simpler time, in many ways, it was a dirtier, smellier, and far more dangerous place, even for a queen. Elizabeth's story is a testament to the power of illusion. She built an empire on an image of perfection, all while her body and her surroundings concealed a world of decay. History is often sanitized for us, but the truth is almost always more complex, more human, and in this case, much, much filthier. What we see in the portraits is the myth. What we've uncovered today is the reality hidden just beneath the surface.